I just saw the opportunity. Right, what? You're proof of that.
Oops.
How are you? Good morning. It's always good.
Hi, Miss Waters.
Okay.
I know some people wonder why I keep doing it.
Okay. Have a good day.
Hi, I'm fine. I've been calling your office and leaving emails, and
you're one.
Maybe you could give me 5 minutes of your time. I know today
You're
is not
one
the time.
of 700,000.
I understand that. I understand that. Yes.
And so when I'm in Washington most of the time. You know that. I fly in on Monday and I fly back on Thursday or Friday. But that's every week. So I have one day sometimes. And we try to figure out how to see everybody that we can. So tell me what you want to talk about.
Well, I just want to talk about your representation in Washington regarding our president as well.
I can't stand him.
I understand.
He's the most horrible man I've ever seen in my life.
I love my president very much.
I'm glad you do.
I respect your position, my position as well.
I'm glad you do.
But I also want to know why you weren't representing me in Washington by opposing the president.
Your president is a dishonorable, lying man. He mocked a journalist. I've never seen a grown man do that. He talked about grabbing women by the private parts. He lies every day. He's in bed with Putin and the Russians about oil. And everybody around him are allies with the Kremlin and with the oligarchs of Russia. They're going to take us down.
You mentioned comments about him being a liar.
He is a liar.
And grabbing a woman's pussy,
That's
which
right.
I don't think he ever did.
He said it.
I go back to...
What grown man talks like that?
I go back to President Clinton.
I don't care about Clinton.
Well, of course
I
you
care
don't.
about this.
Of course
Listen,
you don't.
I'm going to work every day until I get him impeached.
I'm going to work every day to make sure that he isn't and that you're impeached.
But that's okay.
Thank you so much,
Excuse
Ms. Waters.
me.
Thank
You
you so much.
can't impeach a
Thank
member
you
of
so much.
Congress. No,
Thank you so much.
you cannot
for
impeach a
not
woman of
representing
Congress.
me in office. Thank you so
That's
much.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
From the moment he came down that shiny escalator in Trump Tower, Donald Trump represented an existential threat to the D.C. swamp. He promised to end the cycle of corruption throughout the government, to make it leaner and more accountable to the people. And he even took on some of the sacred cows.
Do you trust intelligence?
Not so much from the people that have been doing it for our country. I mean, look what's happened over the last 10 years. Look what's happened over the years. I mean, it's been catastrophic. And in fact, I won't use some of the people that are sort of your standards, you know, just use them. Very easy to use them. But I won't use them because they've made such bad decisions.
Yeah, he had the nerve to call out the intel community, a.k.a. the deep state, as part of the problem. Well, Trump believed that everything in Washington had become politicized, bloated, and unmanageable. And what we take away from the now public House Intel Committee memo that was released today is that Donald Trump, once again, was right. When the American people think of the FBI and the Department of Justice, they should have faith that the agency's leadership use their vast powers without political bias or animus. In other words, you shouldn't be able to investigate or surveil any American without clear probable cause that a crime has been committed. And by the way, in order to secure a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act or FISA warrant, the government must also find that the person targeted, in this case, Mr. Carter Page, was acting as a foreign agent or on behalf of a foreign government. But I'll tell you this, after reading this memo today, I don't know how the FBI even met that benchmark. Now, apparently, those requirements, those statutory requirements, went out the window because they had to take out Trump by any means necessary. The FBI used a minor figure on the Trump advisory board, the aforementioned Mr. Page, in an attempt to penetrate Trump's inner circle. Now, Page had been on the FBI's radar for his activities in Russia long before his name was listed in that campaign press release in the spring of 2016. But then on October 21st, 2016, the FBI filed an application with the FISA court for a warrant to surveil Page. According to the House Intel memo, they submitted that phony Russian dossier created by British spy Christopher Steele as their primary evidence. Now, the document itself was filled with conjecture and unsubstantiated assertions about Russian efforts to cozy up to then businessman and now candidate Donald Trump. Now, we've known for some time that the dossier was funded by the DNC and the Clinton campaign. And the FBI and the DOJ knew it too. But here's the rub. Even though they knew the political origins of the dossier, the FBI did not tell the FISA court. Neither did the DOJ. They would go on to secure 3 FISA surveillance renewals on Carter Page, all based on that same dossier, Oppo research, in other words. The FISA warrants were approved by FBI Director James Comey, Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe, Acting Attorney General Sally Yates, and Deputy AG Rod Rosenstein. There are so many lapses and biases at play here, it's frankly hard to keep track of them, but we're going to do our best. We know the FBI authorized payment for the man at the center of this entire opus, Christopher Steele, for information in that dossier. And to be clear, Steele was like hardly an objective source when it came to national security matters. He's quoted in the House Intel memo as telling DOJ officials that he was, quote, desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being president. Oh, no agenda there whatsoever. So he cooks up this fake dossier to try to kill Trump's candidacy. And at the same time, Steele began shooting his mouth off to Yahoo News about Carter Page's trip to Moscow, which he included in his infamous dossier. The FBI later cites that Yahoo News story as corroborating evidence of the dossier's credibility. That's a neat trick. So a story about the dossier is corroboration of the story itself, which is fake. Fantastic. The Bureau put all of that in their FISA request to continue their surveillance of Page. Now, here's where it really gets good. A month after the FBI used Steele's dossier and the fake news he leaked to get the FISA warrant, they realized Steele is leaking confidential information to the media and divulging his relationship with the FBI. So the FBI terminated its relationship with him. So here's the upshot. The predicate for the entire Trump-Russia collusion canard, the prevailing evidence advanced to surveil Page, which would lead to the creation of the Mueller investigation and all the madness that followed, was built on the foundation of the fake Steele dossier, paid for by Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC. Here is Devin Nunes from the House Intel Committee a short time ago.
And just step back for a moment. This is not trying to go after some terrorist. Then they got a warrant on someone in the Trump campaign using opposition research paid for by the Democratic Party and the Hillary Clinton campaign. That's what this is about, and it's wrong, and it should never be done.
And the Democrats, who've long been suspicious of the overreach and the bias of law enforcement, it's funny, they believe now that law enforcement can do no wrong. They can never be questioned. They're always right. Though the left did sound like a chorus protesting the memo's revelations today.
Each of these allegations is at best cherry-picked and at worst just simply not at all indicative of the bias that the Republicans are trying to allege.
It's likely cherry-picked, and we know what happens when you cherry-pick information.
Who knows what it might have been, FISA application, and you cherry-pick in the summary 2 points that you don't like.
Why should the FBI and the intelligence community trust our committee or Congress with sensitive and classified information if they think we're on a party line basis going to vote to cherry pick and disclose parts of it?
I think a drinking game on a Friday night, cherry pick, it'd be really trashed. Russian collusion, remember, was supposedly the concern that drove the FBI to apply for that surveillance warrant. So they were worried that the election would be disrupted. Well, I contend that this surveillance itself was designed to disrupt the election. How was this done? First, as an insurance policy against Trump's winning, and later as an effort to undo the election and upend the presidency. What the memo makes clear: there was collusion, after all, you bet. The collusion was between the Comey FBI, the Obama Justice Department, and the Hillary Clinton campaign. And that's the angle.